Whiskey is feeling a bit pricey at the moment, with premiumisation taking full effect. Recently, an event on social media following an announcement from a distillery kicked off the hornet's nest. The debate is rife, so we're going to dive into that tonight. I'll be bringing along a few guests with me to help debate the fancy lifestyle, while we're going to also provide some more bang for your buck alternatives to the premium top tier whiskies, with whiskies which provide so much more enjoyment to us enthusiasts. And with that, I'll see you in a minute.
Jeff Whisky.
God, that felt like a real flashback, that did, that little intro clip. I've clearly loaded something in from a couple of years ago, but that's all right. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to a Monday night Malt talk. I didn't have a good name for it. It was just a case of I've paid for StreamYard for the month, and being the cheapskate that I am milking it as much as I can, getting my money's worth, and just trying to dive in and talk to you before I get charged another 40 quid. Not that I'm saying you're not worth more than that. I'm very grateful to you all joining me. But as you can understand, being the penny pincher on Whiskey Tube, I've got to live up to that reputation. First, let's do some, as Roy would say, housekeeping. And we are going to talk about first, I've not mentioned it yet, the English Whisky Wars for 2026. If you caught this, it was possibly the most stressful whiskey experience of my life. Everything went wrong. I know when you're this side of the camera, things feel elevated. It can get a lot more stress because the panic is like within you, all that fancy talk. But it's a case of, unfortunately, the internet dropped out. So do let me know if that happens again tonight. It was a case of the intro video played. I started my little ramble and suddenly every face went blurred. Sound was lost and it was a mad panic, but I'm very grateful for everyone who stuck through it. It was such a blast. Getting everyone on board was just amazing. Unfortunately, Circumstance couldn't join on the night, but having Circumstance, Cotswolds and White Peak all going away with gold just highlights great whiskey. Let me know. We're currently in debate whether we should do this every year or every other year. For me, I want to say every other year. Currently, I want to say every 5 years, but it was hopefully enjoyable for you and it provided a good benefit and gave you kind of a dangerously good shopping list for English whiskey. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, just because I've not had a chance to mention it yet. Since then, things have been full tilt. And let's quickly pop in to the chat. Ian, great to have you here. Yeah, happy Monday. Yeah, let me know what you think about a Monday. According to like the analytics, Monday is the time where I should be doing a live stream. Apparently, this is where all my fans are online. Probably because I normally post a video on Monday, but how accurate that is, I don't know. Rafe, great to have you in, buddy. DrinksWhisky, good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while, mate. I'm sure I'll catch up with you soon. Ian, welcome in. Dave. Yeah, so spoilers, I got David, Drinks Whiskey with me, Ash, Whisky Wars, and as long as he can drop the kids off at the pool, as long as he can drop the kids off at the school, he'll be joining us as well. Being on the other side of the globe, it can make it a bit of a challenge. PX Woodhouse, thanks for joining us. Toby, lots of people in this evening, so thanks so much. Jesper, Highland Hamish, greetings from Inverness. Greg's Whiskey Guide. Welcome in, everyone. Greetings from Paris. As long as your poor connection lasts, lots of things to say on this topic. I've already touched a bit on social media discussions. Like you, Greg, I know the drain that is technical issues. I'm hoping yours gets sorted soon. I know it's been an uphill battle for you. And internet is such a key part that we need in everyday life now. It's wild. And the stress that when it goes under, I don't think there's anything that compares to it. Bowman, hello from the American Midwest. Hello to you too. It's great to hear that my lovely high-pitched nasal tones are traveling so far along the globe. Scott, great to have you in, buddy. Dutch Jura, good evening. I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly. Thank you so much for joining a slapper. Carbonic mastication? Is mastication chewing? I'm the wrong person to ask these things. I'm sure it's gone straight over my head. But grateful to have you joining and let me know what your handle was so I knew who you are. Don't know how, say, people like Roy do it who can remember YouTube handles, names, and faces. So if you do ever see me out and about, just say, oi slapper from across the room. That's what people did at the Leafs Festival, and it seemed to work well. No one was offended. Frank, great to have you here, buddy. Lots of people. Gary. We got, is it Reza Jafari? Apologies if I pronounced it wrong. You hate premiumisation because it makes Macallan too expensive. I hate it because it makes Tamdhu hard to find. We are not the same. Tamdhu is a good shout in terms of what is potentially a premium whiskey. It's a pricey whiskey, but it's a more enthusiast whiskey. I'm sure we might see some Tamdhu later. And it is a good point to touch upon. I don't hate premiumisation. I know this penny pincher, price moaner, complainer that I am. I think it's got a place in the industry, and I'm sure we'll touch on that more. The Dalmore tour thing, I don't think overall is a bad thing, but we'll touch on that when we get to it, and I'll bring in my guests who can help make sure I don't dig myself in too big a hole. Alistair, great to have you here. Anyone coming to Whiskey Live in Dublin, let them know. And I think it's about time I grab a quick dram. Codro, great to have you here. Evening, Jeffers and all you whiskey folk. See, that's a flashback. So my many nicknames have always been Jeff, Jeffers, and Meaty Peaty, but we won't need to go into why that is the case. And the other thing I've got to touch upon, and that is the Benromach Champions bottle. So I don't know if you've seen social media. I've not had a chance to properly sit down and talk about it, but I've had a lot of questions, especially on Instagram. So if you are waiting on me, huge apologies. I am hopefully getting to it as soon as I can to do like a post and dive into it more. Just seeing if there's any way I can make myself appear any larger, but there's not, but that's okay. We'll stick it with this. We'll keep me minimized. So yeah, I went to Benromach last summer. It's kind of, I've talked so much about it, I won't dive in anymore. But once the Benromach Champions for 2026 comes live, I implore everyone, if you want to go for it, because it's a trip and you get to see behind how the sausage is made and just the magic of Benromach. And yeah, it has led to this bottle. As you can see, it's a very full bottle. I've had 2 glasses. That's all I've had chance. It turned up for me maybe on Thursday, and it is just, I'm going to say it's spectacular whiskey. I'm biased on it, so do read other reviews, other people talking about it. It's an organic 14-year-old cask. It was cask 100, which sounds nice. That's a nice little marketing term. Non-chill filtered, natural color, cask strength, and it does slap. It's a case of we had 3 like casks to choose from, and full transparency, this one wasn't the one that I put forward as first. Like, I actually put this originally as 3rd out of the 3. So, don't let that put you off, but also that was where I was at the time. For me, it's possibly the 3 was spectacular, and I'd say it's possibly my 2nd, but it is a banger. And if you like the organic cask, so the contrast organic, this is like a huge step up for very little price difference. 14-year-old age statement. It's unpeated, but it's bags and bags of fruit. I would compare it to the Wireworks Heritage Grain. Maybe the Glasgow 7070, the Aquavite release, the bourbon casks. It is such a natural fruit, clean bomb. Really good whiskey, but I'm not here to sell it. I'm grateful for the opportunity and to have my tiny little, you can tell which one's me. Will it zoom in? There you go. It's quite obvious which one's me out of the 3. Out of the 2 presentable looking people and then some dodgy looking dude with a shade and shirts. I didn't get any commission or any like money or anything back from it, but an amazing experience and just wanted to talk about it. And yeah, I will reply to everyone on Instagram and thank you for messaging and everything. I'm very, very far behind, but that's the joy of whiskey. We can enjoy it at our own pace. Lots more people have come in, so great to have you here. I did have to say, there you go. Mac, thank you for popping in. I'm not sure what time it is in Tokyo at the moment. Hopefully it's not the middle of your night. Alistair, ordered your Benromach. That's a sentence to think it's my Benromach. I'm very lucky to have my ugly mug on it, but it is. Let's give it a quick go while I'm on here because I can't see myself getting to a natural review. It's kind of like banana-y. Coconut, kind of. It's very sweet. It's lots of fruits. Really, it's slightly oily on the smell. I've never really thought about how sniffing whiskey translates across on a live stream because when I edit videos, I cut it out. And also on the topic of tonight being a fancy night, these are my fancy goblet glasses I've got going. A vintage bargain, so it costs under £1 a glass. Brilliant tulip shape, and it's just amazing. But thank you for joining me tonight. Cheers. Straight off the bat, there is like this kind of virgin oaky spice. So you think like a little bit of chili heat with, I want to say straight away pineapples, like that tropical fruits. Oh, I've really got to think now. Almost slightly, it's got the oiliness, the dirtiness without the smoke. So I always think of Benromach as like a filthy bugger, and this one is a lot cleaner. Almost, I want to say it's Springbanky in my mind because I don't see Springbank as that dirty. I find Long Road to be a much more dirty of the Mitchell range, and I'm not a Hazelburn expert to dive into that. But no, it is really good. So I hope if you do get it, I hope you enjoy it. And the price is really good on it. Apparently they wanted to charge a lot more. And that was the first thing I asked was kind of, okay, how much would this be? Because I can't sprout on about me being this bargain hunter who's all about your bang for your buck and your value, and then to have my face on like £120 bottle. Not that I had any say in any of the price. I was literally just on for the ride. But I was really proud that they kind of, that they was able to release it to the previous year's price point. From what I've heard, it's meant to probably have cost, I'd imagine, a lot more for an 14-year-old organic whiskey. But yeah, really good stuff. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I won't dive into any more because I don't feel like I'm selling it or anything. But if you want me in your face and a bottle to slap, now is the prime opportunity. Great having so many other people join in. Whiskey Lover Society. We've got Lee J in. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. Hopefully see you as well as many other people at the Glasgow Whiskey Festival. Let me know, did you get your tickets? I was really lucky kind of to know someone who's able to get one for me. I was there on the dot as the tickets went live, refreshed on the second, and straight away 0 tickets. And it could have been a very deflating feeling, but luckily someone else was able to sort one for me. But yeah, on that topic, good times. I think it's now time I've rabbited on enough. Let's bring in my guests. We've got 2 waiting for us. First, the king of streams, who I wish I didn't bring on because he's going to make me feel bad about my presentation. Probably the best guy to tell a tale. If you've seen, there's a something called Drams on the Run. If you've not seen that, make sure you search that as soon as this stream ends. The most heartwarming whiskey tales, and just been able to tell a story across. But I won't blow any more smoke up his backside. David from DrinksWhisky, are you ready to join? Yeah, perfect. How are you, buddy?
Good evening from the Black Lodge. How you doing?
Yeah, can't complain. I see you've got the Glengarry top on.
Oh, I had to represent. It's not one of the topics of conversation tonight, but any opportunity I get to rep Geary. And I saw on Instagram today, the Whisky Exchange also doing a bit of education of it's not Garrick, it's Geary. No need for that intro, mate. Flattering me too much. Happy to be here. absolutely delighted to be invited.
Well, we'll see how the night goes and maybe the compliments will die down. But for now, I'm grateful to have you here, so I'm going to try to keep you sweet. But yeah, no jokes. I love the Drams on a Run series you've done, and the plums to have yourself like filming when you're out and about. It's something that I would love to do, but I can't kind of bring myself to it.
You'll be amazed at how easy it becomes after a couple of drams. The edit after that is the hardest part, because you have to watch it back the next day and just be like, oh, this is going to take a wee while. This is like this percolate for a bit before it's acceptable.
Oh no, it's a talent, and yeah, I'm still not used to hearing my own voice on like editing videos. I now edit at like 2 times speed, so I may sound like a chipmunk, but to me, it's more tolerable.
I just have to pretend it's somebody else, and by about 3 drams in, I'm like, I don't know who that person is. So that's the one that can go and talk to strangers in the street and stuff like that is not the day-to-day David at all.
And that can go one of 2 ways. You could be there thinking, God, this dude, he knows what he's talking about. Or it could be, who is this arse on the screen? I know what my reaction for my videos would be.
It's even better when you're trying to remember what the drama is that you're filming. And you're trying to put it up on the screen and you're going, what's that? And you're having to text people going like, do you remember what I ordered at that one? What was that one? But no, and I can see in the chat a few people asking if they've never watched the stream, asking about horses, which is a very niche in joke for the stream. Sadly, the horses have been not retired, but they've been put out to pasture for now.
Well, hopefully they come back. It's a unique spin, it is, and it sits so well on your channel because it's real. I always think you're a very tangible content, and like it's the actual horses. It takes me back to going to Chessington as a kid, trying to throw the balls into the horses to get the horses to move. And yeah, no, it's awesome stuff. And speaking of awesome stuff, my next guest, probably the most handsome man on Whiskey Tube, the man who's started more wars than Donald Trump, a person who's battled as many whiskies as possible and always just like brings such a great, the best way to say it is human connection to whiskey reviews. He's a global man nowadays, and he's currently in the clouds. Ash, are you ready to join from Whisky Wars? It's a middle finger he's given me, which is completely understandable. Ash, welcome, buddy. How is it?
Oh, perfect. What an intro. Jeez. Yeah, apologies to everyone about the background. I'm not in the clouds. It is just a tech error. I'm letting everyone down, especially Drinks Whiskey and Jeff.
It looks good, and even more magical is when you picked up a bottle from behind your shelf earlier when we was chatting before going live, and how a phantom bottle just appeared like it ascended. But I think
it's a nice reveal.
It adds to the showmanship of it, and that's the most important thing. What I will do for now is let's just make us all a bit bigger so everyone can enjoy our faces. And are you both aware of let's get on topic, the Dalmore, I don't know what's the correct terminology, the Dalmone, the Dalmore kickoff?
I like that.
It's so recently Dalmore has, if I just share, actually I can split us and share this. So Dalmore has released their tour, which has got a little bit of backlash, which is Ian's bang on the money, the Dalmore debacle. That was very Somerset. And it is a case of Dalmore's released their new tour. They've kind of done up. Yeah, he's on live camera, and yet he can still drop it in the chat. Yep, the Dalmore drama. We're here for Triple D, and it's a case of they've revamped their whole distillery, and they're very much targeting a unique market, a much smaller market. And I think generally that wouldn't have been an issue. We don't drink Dalmore. I say we. I can't see it. I did have a bottle down there. I still have a soft spot for Dalmore. I wouldn't be buying a bottle, and we'll get into my reasons for that, which has certainly changed lately. But it's not the whiskey for enthusiasts, and they've always reached to be in that luxury market. Some would say a poor man's Macallan, others like a rich man's Glenmorangie. They're heavily sherried, and it's just a case of let's target our market and adjust who we're targeting. And whiskey, it was the Master of Malt who did a published press on it. So they did an Instagram post, which I tried to catch here. And it's a case of, let me just quickly, flip through the slides. There we go. So yeah, the distillery, I don't think it's updated. There we go. It's all right. It's missing a slide, but that's okay. So they've, as you can tell, this was a mad panic before going live. You would think I'll be prepared by now. That's not my style. We like it off the cuff. And their tours cost 250 quid a person now, which I think we can't argue. It's a bit pricey, but you've got to book 2 people at a time. So it's 500 quid. And again, I don't think that would have really rustled our feathers because we don't really pay attention. I say we. David and Ash, let me know if you think differently, if you are hardcore Dalmore devourers.
I'm on the same page as you. Really?
Yeah,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm on a bit of a delay, like a 1 second delay. I didn't mean to interrupt. No, I don't think Dalmore's very good at all. Like, I think it's ignoring the value. If it was priced accordingly, I still think it's poor whiskey. So it's just a personal thing. So yeah, it's not something that I particularly like.
For the tour, because I spoke briefly about this on Saturday as well. I think there's not a lot of news at the moment, and there's a subsection of people that love a bit of drama, right? And they really love to jump on it. And we've had it recently, last couple of months, where another whiskey YouTuber who we all know and love may have put out a video that caused a bit of ruckus as well, and everybody went on that. And you have these peaks and troughs. And I think this would have passed relatively not unscathed, but as you said, Jeff, like, it's not for us. This isn't for us. So it's not like we're going, oh my goodness, they're cutting us out. This is a much loved distillery that's saying no more to us. It's never really been for us. But that article just hit the wrong buttons. Whoever wrote it.
Well, I think it's like a Chanel bag, right? They sell it for 5,000, but they make it for £50, and everyone knows they make it for £50. You know you're not getting value for money when you buy a Chanel bag. I doubt, just personal opinion, that it's value for money at all. But it's an ability for certain people to experience a certain experience or feel like they're experiencing a certain experience that other people can't have. And so it's a great marketing move. I'm sure they'll make money from it, but it's just not something that I particularly think is good money well spent, you know.
Yeah, and it's not our money they're going for. It's like, again, you said the Chanel bag. I think the Rolex watches. A Rolex watch is not worth the cost. You know, I'm saying that as someone who wears a Casio all the time, but it's a case of you're not buying the money towards the watch. You're buying the money for the experience of getting that watch. You're buying it to go into a shop, to sit down, to talk to them, to then be told, we'll put you on a list where you wait for 2 years until they let you have a Submariner or any low-level entry Rolex before you work your way up the list. And that is the hype. That's the dopamine hit. And I think that's what Dalmore's going for. It's not this is the best liquid. It's how well an experience we can sell. And they're targeting, and the article itself, which definitely I think is what pushed the buttons, is how they marketed it as, we know who we're going after. This is our target market. And I think because Master of Malt, I'm a big fan of that shop. I buy quite a lot from Master of Malt. I'm a Prime Master of Malt Prime member where you pay so much for a year and you get free delivery and discounts. It's a case of, I think their article was too close to the bone, too close to the spiel from Dalmore themselves. And I know a few like influencers, which I've got to point out, us three are. You both have kind of influenced me to buying a bottle. So I think we do fall into that influencer camp. We're not like sellouts. I think that's fair to say. If you disagree and you both, like one of you is a massive sellout, do let me know.
I would happily be a sellout
in my life. So
happily,
I don't
buy me for a trip to Dalmore. Absolutely. No, it's more, but it's. Did you say like we're not? I don't think we're professional influencers in that space, and by that I mean is we post stuff that we pay for. Other people post stuff that they don't pay for, and you see it a lot.
But I think people want to see that though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think it's also if you're looking at it from like if Dalmore, hypothetically, I think if Dalmore had invited any of us and said, look, we're going to fly you up, you're going to get to see an exclusive tour. We've just redone the whole distillery. We've been closed for a long time. Do you want to come? I would say yes, because I like Dalmore's spirit. I like it when I get it independent. I don't buy core Dalmore because I'm not into it. It's not going to do anything for me at that price point. But I would love to go and see it. And then probably I would turn around, honestly, to people and say, look, it's not really for me, this 500 quid entry fee. But if you're a massive Dalmore fan or whatever, or if you happen to be in the area, because the area's not anywhere, it's quite an isolated part of the world up there, then maybe you would consider it. But you're next to, I said on Saturday, you're next to Royal Dornoch up there. There's a lot of wealthy people flying in to play golf. There's a lot of exclusive day spas up there. There's a lot of like very, very premium things. And if that's how they've went, look, we're just going to do this because really who's going to drive all the way here to just do another, I don't want to say bog standard, but a normal distillery tour. We've all done them. We know how a distillery works. I think that, in my eyes, I think would have been more honest than turning around and it's almost ChatGPT the press release and say, how can you make this obnoxious? And that's what that article was. And I think that's where the drama comes from. I think, yes.
Yeah. It wasn't a good read, was it?
No.
No, and in a time where every brand is saying they're striving for inclusiveness and every whiskey professional influencer are also striving for the same message. It's the contrast almost of interest. Like you said, if Dalmore said, come on up, we'll pay for everything. Oh, 100%. I don't think anyone would turn that down. It's an experience I know I would never be able to afford. So if it's on their dime, I would of course make the most of that experience, but also it's then trying to then say what their spiel in your own words as a positive spin. Yeah, it's the.
I'd have to say to them, as long as if I ever got given a free bottle or a tour or whatever, I'd have to say, would I be able to speak honestly about the bottle? And if it was, well, we'd like you to be I'd just say no. I'm not going to lose sleep over not getting a distillery tour. It's not why I did my channel in the first place. So.
Well, that's ruined it because the surprise of the night, I'm taking you all to Dalmore.
I'm delighted.
To ruin it. No, it's and as you said, people love drama, like whiskey.
Yeah.
On Instagram, especially, I think Twitter has become it's eaten itself to the point. Sorry, X has eaten itself to the point where it's acceptable for high passions and temperatures to run constantly. It's become when everything's in bold, nothing is. But I think Instagram has got a lot of folk who just love taking a picture of their bottle, saying what they're drinking, and then when you do get
the worst is when they're not
worded, and
they've put the notes on what they get from it.
And I think Master of Malt have realised their mistake there as well.
I thought what they should have done, what they absolutely should have done, is a big Dalmore promotion with like 25% off. And if you buy two bottles, you get 50% off. Like the 250 to 500 for two. Like just lean into it and just admit it. And then, like, no publicity's most publicity is good publicity for most people. That highlighted a tour that I bet you a lot of people didn't even realise was a thing.
Yeah. And it's
I think the whole drama and the negative reaction from, I'd say, most people from it has only boosted the revenue they'll make from the tours, because there'll be a lot of people thinking, well, actually, when I go, it will just be me and a few people, and it will be exclusive, and it is catered for me. And so I think it'll benefit them massively.
And that's perfect timing to bring in the next guest to join us, the man who would happily chug 5 bottles of Dalmore just to start his day. Someone who I've spent a lot of time talking to lately, so I don't need to introduce him. You know him, and that's first Phil Whisky, Phil himself. Are you ready to come in? I hope so.
Oh, I'm like flat. I just realized. How's it going? Swamp Donkey. I just
Yes,
I need to switch the
keeping
setting.
good.
Hang on.
So I'm trying to just hide the comments because Ash has disappeared. Everyone's message. Okay. Right.
How's it going?
How's it going? Jinx.
Good.
Was it a good drop off? All smooth sailing, ready to start your drams for the day?
Yeah. No poos in the car for this one, so that was good for the kids.
And
yeah.
enough about
good drop
yourself
off.
though. So we're just, I don't know how much you've caught. So we're currently deep in the Dalmore dive, where we're thick in the E150A, where we're discussing this, as me and you discussed it briefly on our interview. Your thoughts on this premiumization tour package? We've all kind of said it's got a different audience. Do you want to give your hot take on it?
I think there's sort of like two angles. One's from like us as whiskey drinkers and whiskey enthusiasts, and the other angle is from people in, like the marketing kind of guide, right? So for example, like there's that Seth Godin, who's like a marketing guy, talks about who is it for, who are you making it for. So I guess, say for my channel, like I'm not making videos for, I don't know, status premium super yacht people, and it's like that's just part of my thing. So like by actually saying who it's not for, that's actually like part of it. And I guess Dalmore are kind of doing the same thing. They're sort of actively saying this is not for people who can't afford it, which and I think the tricky part about that is it kind of is the people who actually do like Dalmore, like actually like to buy the bottle. It's kind of feels like a bit of a like they're looking down at them a little bit. And I guess Dalmore probably run their budgets and accounts and their spreadsheets and gone, actually, no, we don't. Let's just target the more kind of premium end of the market or something. So, yeah, I guess that's overall. I don't know what you're thinking of.
Yep. So I think it's interesting as well because Diageo was recently on their shareholders call where they were saying to move away. I don't know if you all caught that. They're going to move away from the premiumization market. The dude,
really?
I can't remember the person who's in charge of it. Was it former Tesco director or something he was? And how he's wanting to, they're realizing this premiumization is not working. People aren't spending 200 quid on Talisker 18. The big move to polish some of the turd releases kind of hasn't worked out unless people are buying it. I know very few people who I talked with who were Lagavulin 16 fans have replaced their bottle. I haven't replaced mine as much as I'd love to. It's just entered the unaffordable kind of range for me. And when you've got Lagavulin 8 at a cheaper price, better presentation, for me, it's a no-brainer. I don't know if you have thoughts, David or Ash, on the Lagavulin 16 price hike and the Talisker 18 price hike.
I remember when that happened and I caught wind of it and I managed to get a Talisker for like 70 quid. I got 2 of them. Ooh. And then it happened overnight. But they weren't the only ones that went premium. I think I was shocked researching for this, for what we're going to come on to, looking at the price of stuff. Highland Park, you know how much Highland Park is now? Like Highland Park 15 is over £130. Like what? And so there was that shift in Edrington. Obviously, they own Macallan. They've done it with Glenrothes as well, is it?
Yeah, that's very much a premium little drop.
But then they punted they punted grouse. They got rid of famous grouse, which surely was bringing in the money to an extent, like just tiding over the wheels. Because I know at Diageo, Bell's turns over a fortune for them because it's so cheap to produce. And so you're looking at that shift away and you're going, right, okay, well, where's that money coming from? There must be a strategy. And then I went last summer up to Macallan, and again, boo hiss Macallan. But I've got a soft spot because weirdly, when I went to uni, I got a scholarship from Edrington via the trust that they'd set up called the Robertson's Trust. Never paid any attention to it until like 4 or 5 years ago. I went, hang on a minute, I went to uni because of whiskey. But you walk into that actual place, Macallan, and it's genuinely awesome. It's like nothing like I've ever seen before. Like a James Bond villain's lair. It's so cool. But the quality of the whiskey, my American mate who'd been drinking whiskey for 3 days, that was his full experience. He left and went, oh, it's a wee bit thin. That whiskey's a little bit thin, isn't it? That's a guy that knows nothing about whiskey, learning that in 3 days. But I think it's interesting that shift that Diageo's been pushing back. I think they've realised, well, hang on a minute, our bread and butter is like this world. But then White Mackay that own Dalmore, they want to go that way with, like, that's where Dalmore is, isn't it? Really, as a brand, it is a premium brand. So it's aspirational. I think the distillery tour, it's like something to aspire to go to, and drag your partner along that doesn't like whiskey, or try and get a few mates together to do it.
And in their marketing as well, they stated how they had plans for people to go on the tour who didn't like whiskey, so they were going to do a champagne flight for them instead. Which is, they're selling the experience, not the liquid. It's definitely the way. We have the obvious, that word. How light would Dalmore be without E150A? So I think this is the Portwood Reserve, and apparently this one is a natural one. It doesn't say, it's not a German bottle, unfortunately, but it does not look natural in that light. Look at that. That's Ribena, surely. This Portwood one, what is it? A 46.5%. I know, like, most of them are thick with color. Vin did a release with, who was that brand that briefly appeared and then disappeared quickly? Is it Ushki? Don't know if anyone remembers Ushki appearing. So Vin did a Aberfeldy and a Dalmore release, and that was like straw color, a fully natural Dalmore. So it's a shame Dalmore don't do more. But as David, you touched upon, White and Mackay, they've got their ladder. Dalmore is the top tier on their fancy. They're pumping out Jurors like no business. It's still the best-selling single malt Scotch, I think, in the UK. And their re-release, they're like the latest 12, following like bumping off the 10 and that lot. Their new 12 is pretty solid for what it is. I've got a bottle of that, and I've actually reached for it, like actively felt, oh, that'll be a semi-decent dram to not think about, with not like dive in and explore, but to have a dram while working on blaze stuff, not like this stuff, not just generally, it's midday, I'm gonna get a dram. Just to cover myself there in case anyone's watching. But they've also got Fettercairn, which kind of is almost in the middle tier. It's kind of enthusiast led,
and it's a good whiskey, Fettercairn, like if you give it a chance. But I think they like I did a wee bit of research into the Dalmore, and I think it's surprising how heavy they lean in that premium space. Like, they do a lot of art shows, and like the big art shows like Art Basel and stuff like that. That's where they are, as exclusive sponsors, or creating very, very bespoke bottlings and all that kind of thing, which it goes over my head because it's not for me. It's not targeted at me. They're doing a good job of that. And I think when it encroaches, you get that little bit of encroachment. It's very easy to jump on the high horse with it, but at the same time, like, it's not costing me any money. They're doing it, that's fine. I'll go further up the road. And I think saw in the comments, Highland Hamish, Broder's up the road and they charge more than Dalmore. So there's already a precedent up there. Or if you want the cheaper one, you just go to Glenmorangie further along the road and do it there. So it's a tricky one, but fair play. If they're making the money, they'll make the money. Somebody's paying it.
Yeah, and I think with this, it was the article that really brought it to light. It would easily, people have moaned, but not to the extent because it wouldn't have been on people's radars. I know us nerds, as long as you're happy with me calling you all nerds, we may have seen it for, oh, classic Dalmore and kind of moved along. We wouldn't have like said, hello, how are you? Really digested that content. We just accepted that's what Dalmore is. But because it was put on a slightly tone deaf Instagram post and then promoted by other influencers who always promote saying whiskey's for everyone, it's that mixed messaging which kind of make it stand out. We've got Frank saying we all do love Dalmore to banter about. The thing is, it's slightly painful for me because Dalmore has such a soft spot on my whiskey journey. And I know I'm a peasant in terms of the whiskey world, but to be told that by a brand and like, this is not for you, it does a slight sting. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I've got plenty of better whiskies to enjoy. But it's kind of, for many people, I imagine, like Glenfiddich saying, no, this is not for you. I don't know if you found that. What's your like entry whiskies that kind of, has any of them been stung?
Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting, like how Glenfiddich and Glenmorangie have a premium end and kind of the, you know, a gateway end. And then there's also enthusiast ones for both of those. So it's interesting, I guess, the difference between a Glenmorangie and a Dalmore, because there's like some really good premium Glenmorangie. If you want to spend lots of money, you can, but I guess they wouldn't restrict it by visiting their distillery based on your income or how much you can afford. And I think that is kind of like what you touched on, you know. Yeah, when these people go on these tours, and in one post it's sort of like, we need to be more inclusive, and then this tour is all about being exclusive. I think that kind of is a little bit of a disconnect for me. Like, if you really want more people to get into whiskey, and no matter who they are, then like, yeah, I'm not sure how I would feel about promoting them, because it's, yeah, when they're actively sort of, when there's this marketing coming out saying, hey, no, we're exclusive, there's, yeah, I don't know, it doesn't really sit with me. But other distilleries seem to be different. So I wonder what the difference in kind of marketing philosophy is between the distilleries. Like, why can't Dalmore also do both? Or, yeah, not sure.
I think it's money. It's money-led, and it's image-led with Dalmore. I think they just want to be seen as this premium thing, and it'll work. It'll massively work for a lot of people. And it'll be seen, it is seen, especially with the bottle. I think the bottle is so nice. And so many people that I know think Dalmore is this holy grail whiskey. So I think it just sort of elevates that even more. And people will spend more. It wouldn't shock me if they raised the price of the bottles as well. A lot. And it'll work just fine, I think. Even though, like I say, I think Dalmore, the official bottlings anyway, that it's just not good whiskey. And I try in videos to let people know it's just horrifically overpriced whiskey. And it's not just overpriced, in my opinion. I just don't actually think it's very good. But I think the marketing team have done a really good job at the same time, money-wise.
I guess it's sort of a similar kind of approach as like Rolex, right? Like, you can't just go and buy a Rolex,
Exactly.
don't you? Like, go onto the shop, and you kind of have to be approved to. Not that I wouldn't know, I haven't bought one.
It's all feeling, that status feeling that it gives the customer.
Macallan do that. You can't go into the Macallan distillery without an appointment. And we didn't have a tour booked. We couldn't book a tour because we were leaving, so we had to book a boutique appointment, which allowed you to walk around the shop. Like, that was the only way in. And it was free. It was a free appointment, and we got a free tea and coffee because it was very early in the morning. And then my mate got a free dram. But that is that exclusive. It's that Rolex dealership type vibe of, you will come by appointment, but you're treated. It was lovely to have a Macallan tea and coffee and a biscuit, and just sit there in this big giant cavernous place. But like that, as we said, we can go around the houses a bit. This is what they're choosing to do, and I think the marketing team, I don't think they've officially put out that this isn't for people. I think it's that article that really laboured the point that this is them deciding to do it, and whether it's a personal opinion or not. because I can just I do feel for them a wee bit if they're coming into their office Monday morning going like, what's happened? What do you mean? We're not inviting people anymore. So yeah, a bit of pinch of salt with it, but as I said, I like Dalmore Spirit. I think getting an independent bottle of Dalmore, SMWS do some cracking ones. I think I had a bourbon cast one before. Like, I really, really enjoy the Spirit, but it's not going to change my opinion of buying or not buying them. So I wasn't buying it anyway.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, like, I found with, say, tours, is I got into whiskey through like a Lefroy tour, and that's how I went down the rabbit hole. And then years later, as you get older and you changed, like those long-term, you could have a lifelong customer. So I'm just wondering about like those young people now, like those future Dalmore fans in 30 years' time, like it seems interesting they'll be cutting them off. But I guess it's just a completely different market. They're not getting those people who fall down the rabbit hole and turn into enthusiasts.
It becomes aspirational. It becomes something to aspire to get to, as opposed to like inspirational. Like if you go to like a micro distillery or something and you get really bought into it because they're trying to do something big. You would get the affinity there, but at the same time, I think we're going to touch on some bottles tonight that I'd be amazed if any of us are buying regularly at all, if ever. But other people are and do at scale. So it's kind of each. As we said, none of us are sitting here with Rolexes flashing. We just kind of got what they need, and they're happy with it.
It is purely a money-based decision. It's not based on wanting more people to get into Dalmore or a whiskey enthusiast or the joy of whiskey. There's no passion in the whiskey for it. It's purely money-based. But I do understand the business side, and I think it'll work well. But yeah, I wasn't buying a bottle of Dalmore before, and I'm not now. So
it's almost a bit Morpheus X. Which one are you taking? You taking the blue pill, and you're being like going down the whiskey rabbit hole to be a whiskey nerd, enthusiast, the enthusiast bottle in our little bubble, in our enthusiast echo chamber, or if you're taking the red pill and you are going for the premium bottles. This is the flashiest one. This is old. This is rare. This is fine. This is smooth whiskey. It kind of depends what route you go down. And with Dalmore, it could be aspirational to that group of people, because we are a small group, us enthusiasts. We're definitely not the majority of whiskey drinkers. We may be the loudest, the most passionate, but we're not the biggest wedge of the money pie. And it's the fact that they're kind of, their article and their kind of plan of it is to not segregate, but kind of say this is the price point to get in. It does give it much more of a luxury status, while it cheeses us off. It's a case of it can work for, I'm trying to think of the most succinct way to say it, but it kind of works with both sides. And premiumization is something that younger generations don't really connect to. From my day-to-day marketing, authenticity is the biggest factor. From people watching more YouTube every day than Netflix, BBC, any television platform, because YouTube is more a direct relationship to the creator. You have that authentic experience of someone in the room with a camera, or Tom Scott filming it with a team of two, and Casey Neistat blogging around New York City. It kind of gives you that authentic feeling instead of the polished EastEnders, if I could say EastEnders is polished. Gary says he's embarrassed that he used to drink Dalmore King Alexander III when it was affordable before you started your whiskey journey. So surely you must be in your whiskey journey when you're drinking that whiskey, because that is and was it ever affordable? I had a tasting once with an online tasting at the start of the pandemic with Richard Patterson hosting it. And he is a character, it's fair to say.
Hi there.
He's here with us. Richard, if you're in the walls, it's got a bit
How are
Jericho.
So until we meet again, Slanjiva.
And
He's always just somewhere.
It's because we said the word Dalmore more than 3 times. That's what it is. He appears.
Hi there.
Beard Vince, bang on the money, saying you remember the Dalmore and the how to drink whiskey video, and that is in the millions and millions of views. That is, and that is part of the reason I got into whiskey, because I enjoyed his over the top dramatic take on it. It's one of the reasons I wanted to try Dalmore whiskey. And then Dalmore 12 was like a staple very early doors in my journey because of it. It was literally Dalmore 12 because of him, Richard Patterson, and what Dalmore was is this real like premium whiskey. Larkinville in 16 because of Ron Swanson and Nick Offerman. That kind of rabbit hole. Ardbeg Ugadale because of the Whiskey Tribe. As you can see, I was very easily influenced. It's a case of I had no personality at all, just an empty vessel. But speaking of empty vessels,
well, sorry.
Unless anyone else has got anything else to say, should we jump into our first alternative and helping buy better? Right, who would like to go first? So I've tried, as always, I like to gamify these streams to get you engaged and to get more comments in the chat so YouTube think I'm doing a good job. And it's a case of I've asked everyone to bring an alternative. So we're going to tackle Dalmore 12, Macallan 12, Glenmorangie Signet, and if we have time, Talisker 18, just as a bonus one, but I don't think anyone's prepared for that. So who would like to go first on tackling Dalmore 12? Who's got a better alternative that they want to sing about? For that suspense.
I don't mind going first.
We'll go alphabetical. Ash, are you ready to present yourself?
Yes. Yeah.
Let me just drag you into the limelight if I can get. There we go. Perfect.
So I was initially going to go for something like Tamdu 12, something a little bit cheaper, same age, but I think a little bit nicer, tastier. But I thought, since I don't have many bottles on me at the minute, there's actually a bottle that I've been really enjoying. So a little bit left field of an alternative. It's certainly younger, and it's a blended whiskey. Jeff, you probably know what I'm going to show now, but it's stronger in proof at 46%. I think it tastes so much better, and it's cheaper, and that is the Thompson Brothers 6-year-old. It's just a whiskey that I've been really, really enjoying. Love the whiskey. I think it's fantastic. It surprised me as well. It wasn't as spirited as I thought it might be. And I much prefer it to Dalmore 12. So you save money and you get a better whiskey. What's not to like? And I think it could, some people's perceived conceptions of blended whiskey, 6-year-old whiskey, not being as good as 12-year-old Dalmore. The bottle's certainly not as nice, but it's better whiskey in my opinion.
Well, that's a very strong start. It's an absolute staple whiskey for me. Is that the one that's being slowly discontinued, or is that the other Thompson Bro?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so get it while you can. I imagine there's a lot of bottles still kicking around. I've not got low enough on my bottle to think about purchasing another one, but a fantastic bottle. Should we go alphabetical? David, are you ready?
For a second there, I was like, no, surely it's not me. I don't know what letter I thought my name began with.
It's highly likely I'll get the.
I was like, oh, I'm last. Yes, absolutely. So on this one, I was looking at it and I was thinking region, and I was trying to think like where to go and stuff like that. And then I thought, do we need to pick something that everybody can get or not get? And then I thought that's always an impossible task, because if we're moving away from Dalmore and stuff, then we're going a bit niche. I was going to pick Glenallachie 15 because I thought, there you go, something rich sherried. But I had a wee dig, and then I remembered on that trip last summer, I went to Glenallachie and I got Premier Cru single cask, and it was under £80 handful.
Whoa.
61.9%, 11 years old. And it's not too dark, just a nice colour, not too winey, if that makes sense, not super tannic, a bit weird. I was driving and we popped in, we were staying overnight at the Highlander Inn, we popped in and the very kind woman in the shop was like, yeah, it's really weird. And I was like, I can't really buy it based on it's really weird. And she was very kind and went away and got a wee sample bottle and gave me it, and I had it at the Highlander. And then we drove back next day and she was like, I told you you would be back. And it was very weird. Probably because there was a lot going on as I was trying to have the dram, but under 80 quid, and there's something a wee bit, I'm a bit sentimental. I like things that are a little bit more pointed and whatever. If you're going to buy somebody who's a whiskey fan, that to me kind of stands out. But if you can't pop by Speyside to pick up a single cask handful, go for the 15.
Yeah, I think I knew there'd be a Glenalachie in the list.
That sounds. I'm gonna pop over tomorrow. Pick one up.
No, just tell her I sent you. You go, I remember him.
What was the ABV again?
61.9.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that sounds like a banger.
But it was it's just like you get stuff like that across different distilleries and that. I would love to know if they do a handfill at Dalmore. I'm just would love to know.
Be a champagne bottle. The price there. So roughly, it seems to always be like the normal price for their entry range plus 100 quid is what I've kind of seen for most distillery bottles. So like the Cotswolds one's one of the last ones I saw, and that was like 140, which for me, I don't know what anyone else feels, and let everyone know your thoughts on it in the chat, and us three here, or you three and me. What are your thoughts on distillery bottles? I've not seen one where I've been like, I need to get that because that is great value.
So that's why I get that, because I thought, right, okay, I'm not under 80 quid. But I think it's weird because you remember the distilleries that have good value ones. I would say the best one in Speyside that I've been told many times is Glenmorangie.
Yeah,
Glenmorangie do a huge selection, and they also are very kind in the UK that if you find out about them, you can phone them up and they will sell you one over the phone and post it to you, which I think's really, really good for the brand and getting out there. But outside of that, there's other ones like, I don't know, Tandu might come up or whatever, but Glengoyne, love Glengoyne, really lovely distillery. And then you get there and the handfuls, just disgustingly expensive every time. And you're just thinking, who's this? Who's this for?
Oh, yeah, it's such a shame because Glengoyne is so many people's first distilleries just due to the location. It was the first Scotch distillery I visited. I know it's Roy's first distillery, and it's a case of you could get so many people. And they've got the White Oak now, which I feel like is an enthusiast dram. But I guess when you first get into whiskey, would you be tempted for a fill your own? Is that too gimmicky? Like if it was a fair value price, is it just a gimmick, or is it, because it's not like you're actually getting it from the cask, you're just buying it from the pump that's kind of above you, and then it's got a cask in front of it.
Yeah,
I think it's memory though, isn't it? It's sentimental.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Cotswolds do it, and it wasn't. I remember not being that expensive.
I can say, yeah, I think it was 140s the last time I saw the Cotswolds, which was like a 6-year STR, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of them are a little bit out my budget, if I'm being honest. I think I'm a little bit more aligned with you, Jeff, on the distillery bottlings. If I see a great deal, I'll go for it, as with anything. But most of the time, you don't really get the deals on those bottles. So I tend to avoid them really and go for something else.
Yeah,
and I need to give a shout out. I need to give a shout out to Springbank as well, with the Cage and the Demijohns at the shop, which I've never been. I'm going next week, so I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm actually not having a dram tonight because I'm going like a full week dry before going to Campbelltown for a week. But
nice.
everybody says that like the value that you get there. So I'll be able to report if that's true or not.
So you're trying to get in the good books now, are you? By giving them a shout out, hoping that you're on the wrong channel to give a shout out to a brand. I'm afraid to say, mate. No one watches it.
I'm sat here drinking a tankard of green tea. For anybody that's wondering what I keep sipping, try to health kick for a week.
Ash, are you on the tea as well? Because I've also got a tea on the go as well as a whiskey. I'm guessing.
I have
Phil,
to be honest,
coffee?
I don't go for tea. I go whiskey and then a little bit of water in case my throat's dry.
So you're hardcore. You're raw
Purist,
dogging it.
purist.
All right, I've got to pick which one. Okay, I know. I'm going to go with my one, and then I can then put the poll together as you're announcing your one, Phil. Let's just pop everyone to the side. So I've got a oh, that's not the slide I wanted. It is this one, and then it is this one. As you can see, pure expert. So the one I'm going for is, it's hard to find sherry whiskey behind me. Sherry is just not my jam, but this is certainly my jam, and it's the new Edredor 10. So we're the 46%. I would say very sherried, not overly sherried, but there's a good wedge in there. 46% ABV, really good price. I think you can pick it if you hunt around for like the 40 quid, maybe just under mark. I think I found it 36 quid, which well happy for. An amazing.
It's half the price you showed.
Oh yeah, very sherry straight off the nose there. I've not had it for a while. But yeah, really good whiskey. And the fact that they have bumped up the ABV, moving in directions that enthusiasts would like to see. I think for me, that's got to be my pick. This is now definitely replaced Dalmore as my sherry staple. I'll wait for your applause on that one.
Yeah. You can go 2 for 1 on it, can't you? Because it's half the price.
Yeah, and thank you. I'm glad someone's ready for this. I was hoping for like a Richard.
I've got to look cost per use. Got to get the cost per use down.
But yeah, Scotland's Little Gem is my pick. And with that, Phil, you got I think I would say a very tough act to follow. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Are you ready to reveal yourself?
Well, I reckon Fireball is actually better than most people think. My pick. So I was sort of thinking like Dalmore, what is it, 40%? It's kind of like this sort of, I guess someone who's newer to whiskey could try it, but also probably has a bit of sherry influence. And you kind of want something that kind of, I guess, trying to tie into like, it feels kind of premium-ish. So I've actually gone with the Glenmorangie 12. It's sort of alternative. The price is pretty good. I can get it cheaper than Dalmore. So yeah, that's the thing. 43% PX and Oloroso casks. So for me, if I was to ask for alternative, I'd probably go for that.
That's a solid shout. Would everyone agree? I would say Glenmorangie crossed the velvet rope, and they are in the premium section now.
Also, another one with drama. Remember that drama? Was it a year, 2 years ago when they changed the branding?
Oh, and they removed chill filtering.
Yeah. See, we love a bit of drama.
I don't think the rebranded looks has got the older style as well.
Yeah, no, I think they've lost something visually as well as the curb appeal is not quite there for me, and the price is not there. Not that we're downplaying your choice, Phil. You know, good for you, but I'm going to put the poll up and hopefully we've encouraged. But I'll tell you what has had a good rebranding, and that's Edredor. Edredor?
Yeah.
That one. Right, I'm going to quickly create a poll. I should have done it. I was too busy listening to those beautiful Kiwi tones. All right, so can everyone announce their bottles again that you've put forward?
Not this one, but that's the Edredor 2.
Oh, we'll come to the Edredor 2 because I've got questions on that. TBBSW. I should have really prepared for this. Thank you. Phil. You know, when a teacher says, feel free to discuss amongst yourselves. I can't spell Glenmorangie. Is that it? Maybe. What did I put forward? For a second, I didn't realize that was a soundboard.
Hello there.
And I just thought someone was deeply enjoying themselves. And you can, right? The poll is live. You can vote for your own. I know when I last did I think it was with Jenny and like Roy and that lot, and she was straight in voting for her own picks. You're more than welcome to. I'll leave it on for a few minutes. David, how is the I can't say it now without thinking about it. Edredor 2.
It's so this is bottled at 57.1. This was the anniversary bottling. I think he was talking about on the stream with Roy, and why they tried to get as much of it out there so it didn't get flipped or anything like that. It's good. It's a very sherry forward dram. Smells like a very heavily sherried whiskey. It drinks really well. It drinks really easy. It has its weight. I think from the sounds of it, like because I've not got a bottle of the standard Edredor, it's pretty much almost much of a muchness. They've tried to do the exact same thing.
Yeah. But
it's 7 years old. I think, does that even matter anymore? Do you know what I mean? Like, good whiskey is good whiskey these days. So it's if you can see, there's still quite a few of the bottles kicking around in places because there was so much put out. It's not a gamble. I feel like Edredor, it's not a gamble at all.
Yeah, and isn't it a case of he felt confident that they could be classed as the same distillery if they needed to be? So if he needed to mix stock because it's two distilleries, but it's in one location kind of thing, and it's one
identical. They're identical builds in every way, and because it's the same, I don't know if it's the same because it's literally the same postcode type vibe of like the exact same placement of it. You could blend them together and still be a single malt.
Yeah, and because that's technically a signatory release, isn't it? It's not actually an Edredor release. It's a
it says on it inaugural release.
Oh, so maybe it is.
Commemorating the 200th anniversary of Edredor Distillery. So technically it's an Edredor release. Number 2.
We'll class it. I'll allow it. And we've got some good suggestions. Seaway Whiskey Wire. Glenfarclas 15. I've not had much I can't speak at all tonight. Glenfarclas at all, so I'm not the best person to comment on it. My experience was it 101? Is it 101?
Yeah.
But yeah, a sherry banger. We've got Ian saying the TBBSW is good. Yeah, so same as you, Ash. Ian was going for the same. Gary saying reminds it of him of Macallan. Yeah, I thoroughly agree. And someone said further down the line that it was predominantly Macallan.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
There's a reason. Yeah, it was a huge parcel. Yeah. Apparently, a huge parcel that accidentally had a bit of grain added to it, and so they had to get
so it was another of those like teaspooned ones where it's like the 99 and 1 kind of thing.
Yep.
We've got a couple of people mentioning, so Jesper with Edredor, Danny Keener, Edredor 10. Ian saying, yep, it's the final release. As its actual age. Due to being the final release at its actual age statement, apparently. Yep. So yeah, it's gonna be I think I'm gonna get another one at one point just because it's such a good whiskey. Paul saying, yeah, 99% Macallan. And we've got saying your philosophy is never to buy a bottle to try a dram in the bar. You regret spending €10 on a shite dram less than you regret spending 65. And yep, I think that is the way with whiskey. I've had a few punts on bottles where you kind of have a good vibe, either from the distillery. And yes, I'm being corrected. It's not 101, it's 105. But what are your thoughts on a whiskey bottle? So say, would you take a punt on a bottle you've never tried?
That's exactly how I started the first 3 years. I never went to a bar and bought a dram because it was almost as pricey as the bottles I was buying on sale. So I would just buy loads of bottles of whiskey, really bottom shelf whiskey, and you would find taste profiles you prefer, but you would learn even on the bad bottles that you don't really like, you would learn about them. So for me, getting into whiskey, I prefer having a bottle because with the dram, it's gone and you don't really learn too much. I think with a bottle, when you sit with it in your own room, no external influences, and you drink it through the seasons, you learn a lot more about the whiskey. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I was the exact same at the beginning. What's it like in New Zealand, Phil? Was you much selection before you dive deep? I know you kind of discovered Scotch in Scotland, but
yeah, the selection here is actually not bad. I think we have quite a decent amount of Scotch here. But yeah, all those independent releases and like those sort of things, there's probably not as many. Yeah. So, but there's a lot that pop up. So we're getting a lot more independent bottlers now. Like we can get the Thompson Bros. Yeah, which is good. There's a pretty good whiskey scene here, which is and Whiskey Galore and Christchurch he seems to know everyone, and so they seem to be able to import a lot of like really interesting bottlings and stuff.
yeah. So do you find like, because there's no whiskey bars near me, the pub, probably every pub in a 20-mile radius is got the classic malts, the Diageo, you've got a Talisker 10, kind of, and maybe a bottle of Johnny Walker and maybe a Jameson, and that's kind of it. So I've always been if I wanted to try something, it's either been a sample split, like someone would buy the bottle and they'll share it out, or it's just been, yep, let's take a punt. So there's been a few bottles which have been, I would say, duds. The Lagavulin 13 for Shield release that went on silly price on the Whiskey Exchange last year. That for me is a dud, just because it doesn't connect like every other Lagavulin does. I quickly stopped the poll on a nice point as well, because I've seen Ash, you've taken the lead with 28%, and then the rest is a 3-way tie with 24%. So I'll do, you get 4 points, Ash, and the rest of us get 3, and we'll keep it nice and tight. Let me make a note of that. While I'm jotting this down, is there any other sherried whiskey that you feel could take on Dalmore? If you had the budget to buy a Dalmore 12 of 80 quid, what would be your go-to, your next purchase?
I think there's loads of options personally. Because you can go for a lot of 15-year-olds as well for the price point of the Dalmore.
Yeah, true.
I can see Whiskey Mikey shouting in the chat, Tamdu 12!
Yeah.
Exclamation mark. I think Tamdu was the first one that came to mind for me. But then again, they are going down the same route as Dalmore and Glengoyne and the rest with the pricing, which is a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, lovely whiskey, but yeah, the price is definitely on the premium end. The Whiskey Ledger, no love at all for Royal Brackler. Again, it's pricey. I really enjoyed the Royal Bracklers I've tried since their new rebrand. There's
2 bottles that come to mind for me, but neither are sherried, but they're cheaper and they're so nice, I think. One of my most enjoyed whiskies, really simple but really nice, was the Tomatin 14 port cask. It was about £10 cheaper than the Dalmore, 46%. So that's probably one I go. And the Deaton 10, the Bordeaux cask, the red wine cask, I preferred that as well, and that was about £40. So
solid.
You can't go far wrong. I think a lot of choices I would put above it.
Yeah, there's some good picks. There's been just going through some of the comments. Reb, sorry I've missed your every comment till now, and it's 12:25 off to bed. Thank you for watching, buddy. Yeah, sorry I've missed. I'm trying to keep track of the comments. I'm not a professional at this. I don't know how Roy can juggle so many. I can barely keep these 3 on the screen. So I'm at full capacity, and it doesn't take much. I'm going to butcher the
Yes.
name. Does anyone else want to have an attempt at that before I do? Because I can't
Nah.
pronounce. No.
Nah.
Nakam flax.
Thank you for watching, and let us can you spell out the name, because it doesn't take much to confuse me as it is. You've got a great shop in your city in Germany. So is it Nakam Flash?
I think it's
Been a long time
flax.
since Flax.
My limited German after moving here. My very
Yeah, you're
limited-
the expert. You're that's your local language at the moment, so you've no excuse. Thank you for watching. I've had a great shop in your city in Germany. That's almost every bottle open they sell. It's just worth it. Yeah, you know what you're getting. Bang on the money. Royal Brackler 12-year-old, 41%. Yep, that's the one I tried, and I've been very tempted to buy a bottle in the past, but it's pretty steep. And also Glenmorangie 8 or 12-year-old. I'm far from being on the Glenmorangie train. I've not connected with it yet. I found everything has been too sherried, maybe borderline sulfuric for me. I don't know. I know, obviously, David, you put forward a Glenmorangie. How do you feel it sits in the lineup of Glenmorangies in terms of
I
that
like
sherry
it. It's
nature?
different. I'm similar. You've got a Glenmorangie 10 cast strength back there, and I've had about that much out it in a few years. Similar reasons, but it's super, super sherried. Billy Walker, but that one was a bit weird, and so I quite liked it because it was bringing out more of the spirit. But in terms of like other sherry opportunities, as you say, there's so many, and I think sherry a lot of the time can be used to mask poor whiskey as well, and it gets battered about in poor casks and stuff like that. But I would weirdly go completely rogue and just get somebody a really good bourbon. If it just to kind of, okay, you're on the Dalmore pursuit, but let's go something a wee bit higher proof, a little bit sweeter to get you away from this coloured, filtered, thin 40%. Let's go that way without scaring them too much, where you hit them, like you say, by a sulphur bomb, and they're like, oh my God, what is this? I got a Westland American whiskey that you could consider sherried, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I know.
Was that the Westland? Was it the sherry release? Was it, or was it?
It was. I've got it behind me. It was a single cast the Whisky Exchange did, and for some reason they discounted it from like 100 to like £32.
Oh,
So
wow,
I
that's a
bought it.
steal.
I bought it online. Went in the shop to buy it, and the guys were like, "How much?" And so they went and
Are
bought
you
it.
sure?
They were like, "What? This is right." But yeah, I think sometimes just taking people out of the wheelhouse a wee bit to bring them back in, because you can take them out, get that proof up a wee bit, and then bring them back in with something a bit more punchy.
Yeah, I think that's the one we tried in London, Phil. That Westland.
Oh yeah.
It would have been
Yeah,
that the shop he's went to is my local whiskey exchange of sorts, so it would have more than likely been that, because they also had that Redbreast. Was it you had?
Yeah. The
Yeah, that
ultimate
was
breakfast whiskey in the, was it cream sherry cask? I still think about that whiskey. And what we'll do now, oh yeah, that's such a good whiskey. I even messaged the Whisky Exchange and saying, I can't afford a bottle. Is there any way, how much would it be to sell a sample of it? Because it's just such a icing sugar, gritty whiskey. And we've got confirmation. So it's German for close quarter combat salmon, which is a name and a half. So Nakampf, and then so Laxical salmon. Well, danke for explaining. My German was always, it was too hard a language for me to learn. I can remember my Beintedwehr, which I think is my knee hurts. Kanischen is rabbit. My brother did German. I didn't have the brains for it.
There's always a
whiskey,
word, isn't there? There's always a German word for everything.
Yeah. And it's such an awesome, it's on one of the few places that I still want to tick off to visit is Germany and New Zealand. So, between everyone here, hopefully I can get a trip round.
Welcome anytime. Welcome anytime.
And Whiskey Mike is saying, I don't think trying to convince someone to not drink a Dalmore by giving them an entirely different style of whiskey is an interesting choice. I'd rather showcase how sherry can be. Yeah, I think with sherry, it's quite good for contrast as well, though. Like you said, with that sweeter bourbon style, it's because I'm very sulfuric, struggling. If something's slightly sulfur for someone, it is too much. Helen and Andy, I gave them my Kilkerran 8 cask strength sherry cask, which is hard to come by just because everyone said how sulfuric it is. And I love Kilkerran. It's my all-time favorite distillery. So to be like, no, I finally got this bottle that I've been looking at to then pass it away. It's just a case of the sherry hit. But speaking of sulfuric whiskies, we'll move on to our next one. Macallan 12. I'll go first with this one, and then I can then do the admin after if everyone's happy with that. But I'm not sure what I've picked. I just grabbed like loads of bottles off the shelf and chucked them down there in this little dark hole. Okay, I'm just going to grab the nearest one. Okay, that's not the most fitting, but we're going to go with it. And that is, let me make myself larger. That's what he said. And that is the Compass Box Crimson Cask. That's all right. It's a better selling point than I would be any day, to be honest. And that is, yeah.
Shame.
Oh, the Hannah Waddington. What a hero. I've been distracted now. It doesn't take much to confuse me. Yeah, Compass Box Crimson Cask. And I'm only going for this because it's an absolute fantastic, spicy sherry delight. It's, yeah, I first tried this at a whiskey show and I thought, nah, this is not my jam at all. And since then, it became almost my whiskey of the year. And just an intense sherry slam. And yeah, fantastic whiskey. I know it's not a single malt. We're talking about a blended malt here, which would put off the Macallan fanboys, I think it's fair to say. But just look at that bottle as well. It just looks stunning. It is stunning. And it's somehow cheaper than Macallan 12. So that's my presentation. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Who's got the plums to follow that up?
I don't mind going, but I don't have the bottle. Just bear in mind.
That's okay. We'll allow it. Right, Ash, when you're ready, buddy.
So with Macallan, I actually really enjoyed their spirit, just not their official bottlings. If apart from one, which was the 12-year-old 110 proof, I absolutely love that whiskey. So if you wanted to go official, I would 100% recommend paying the extra £40 and going for the 110 proof. But my pick is actually the signatory vintage release of the 14-year-old Macallan. I owned that last year. It's £48. They do a 15-year-old now. And I actually father-in-law 16-year-old, which was less than the 12-year-old Macallan price. So tastes so much better. You're getting a lot more proof, natural colour, non-chill filtered. And the difference in the taste of the standard Macallan 12 to those two bottlings is massive.
Yeah, you did cut out briefly, so it did sound like for a second that you had a 16-year-old father-in-law, which, you know, I live in Somerset.
Right, yeah.
I don't judge here, and it's a case of well, you got it clear across the was it the what they call it, the space side brackets M bottles?
Yes, yeah.
That's
It's £48
very...
the 14-year-old, and I think the 16 that I bought, which was cask strength for my father-in-law, was about £75, so still cheaper than the Macallan 12 standard at 40%. So
yeah, fantastic. And yeah, the Macallan, the higher proof Macallan is a banger. Like, I'm not a Macallan boy, but that is solid whiskey. Very pricey, but solid whiskey. Right, who would like to go next?
just finally, the 14-year-old.
Which one, sorry?
The 14-year-old. That's the one I'm locking in.
Oh yeah, we're going to allow it. Right. I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
go.
lucky dip. That's good. I was about to lucky dip between you both. I like the suspense that's building. Phil, you swamp donkey, take it away.
So I'm going to mix it up. I think I've done a lot of alternatives to Macallan, and sort of. I think Tandu often gets things. I'm going to go for something else. So something still kind of rich, a little bit different. I think if you're Macallan's often seen as a gift whiskey as well. So something I would probably gift someone, something that's a bit interesting, something that I can talk about. And so I don't know if this is like I'd say it's super similar, but I'm enjoying it. And I'm going to go for the Aaron port cask finish. Bottle at 50%, and yeah, I like it. It's just got that sort of like it's sort of like got that rich and spice, but there's a little bit more of that sort of jammy kind of berry notes as well.
That sounds a banger. Is it slightly sulfuric? As because I've been finding port casks to be on that kind of sulfur side. I'm not saying you have to have a try some now. Peer pressure.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't think I can't remember that last time I had it. Thinking of sulfuric. It was more kind of like a berry sort of notes I was getting.
That's a strong. So it's a strong lineup, I think, so far. Right, I'm just trying to do the poll at the same time. David, are you ready to take it away for what could be the winning bottle? Could be the last bottle.
We're going for probably one of my favorite in my top 5 distilleries, which is Benromach, just down the road from Macallan. Yeah, just meaty, great spirit in this. So this signatory vintage bottle, they keep releasing these every now and again. So the Benromach keeps coming out, and the spirit just works so well with the sherry. Like it just. I can't imagine. I know there's someone I know Pete Head Frank. I can imagine him not enjoying it, but I would say 90% of whiskey drinkers would love this. This was so close. This bottle was so close to being my whiskey of the year a couple of years ago. The only reason it wasn't is because I got it mid-November that year. But Benromach just is such a great spirit, such a great distillery. Devastated that you can't visit it except unless you go to Spirit of Speyside and spend a fortune. We're talking about it being exclusive. But yeah, it's at that price point, 45, 50 quid. Just from the same region, same water, okay, slightly different style, but not by much. Because I think if you try some proper Macallan, that meatiness is there. I think the biggest tragedy in Macallan is the shift to 100% sherry. Bourbon cask Macallan's fantastic. And so that shift away, but as you guys are saying, that higher proof Macallan, when you've tried it, just impresses you so much. So why spend that money when you could get maybe 2-3 bottles of this and enjoy it?
That's a very good present. Is Benromach is it a worm tub distillery, that one?
It is. I found myself becoming such a worm tub fanatic unintentionally. Like they all are
You're
like
a wormer. Is there
I
a
was trying
term
to find
for like
some sort of Dune, Lisa Al Gaib theme to it, but there's nothing that quite fits.
Right, the poll has been published. I think it has, yeah. So put your votes in. So yeah, so Compass Box, Crimson Cask, the Aaron Port, the Speyside M Macallan, and then the Benry. I must have given up through typing yours, the Benry signatory. We know what it is. I'm not good at typing. Some interesting points made. Let's just quickly find the chat. I tried to star them. Greg made a really good point. He said the lakes. So if everyone's the lakes, the English distillery, which is going through some hardship, and I think that is solely due to the fact they went for the premium market, and that kind of bit them on the backside. They had their blended the one releases, which were, in my view, all subpar. Nothing really grabbed me, and then you were looking 80 quid plus for their releases. Have anyone got any opinions on the lakes?
A similar sort of thing. I bought one last year. I had two that I took off a friend, and yeah, they're all 80, £90. Two of them I thought was a bit lackluster, and one that I really did enjoy, to be fair. So I do think they can put out really good whiskey, but it's the price is quite premium.
Yeah, and it's such a shame. Like, I've almost become the person who does channel English whiskey, and it's just been a brand that I've never connected with. Is it the Mask or something? It was really nice, and I've tried another one from them which was really good. But yeah,
They kind of destroyed their own brand a little bit with the Whiskey Makers edition, where they kept churning out this like super limited release. So people started to collect them, thinking, oh, there'll be like 8. And they just kept coming and coming and coming. And they were very expensive releases. And people were just going like, what? Are you going to have any whiskey left to actually put out? And I think that's when people kind of went, maybe financially, they might be in a wee bit of trouble here if they're putting out their stuff. But it's a shame. Nye Timber bought them though, didn't they? Is it Nye Timber, the English wine company?
Yeah, I don't know the name, but I know it's and so whether it's going to be saved, because they closed the cafe and I think they've closed the distillery for tours now, and hopefully they can turn it around. Time will tell. But yeah, I think you always hazarded. I know me and you touched on it, Phil, in the video, about you kind of need a core range for people to attach to as well. Something that kind of represents the brand that people can connect to and then go off and explore, which I felt like they were missing. Whiskey Mikey saying Tamdu 12 is currently cheaper than Ardbeg 10 on Master of Malt and Amazon. Is Tamdu 12? Is that one 40%? 42%?
43, I think it's 43.
It's a very fancy looking bottle, but I haven't got around to getting one. Glengarry 15. It's a bottle I need to try. The love for Glengarry, or if the t-shirt wasn't there to tell me, it would have been Glengarroch, I would have said. Same price as Dalmore 12. See, that's a no-brainer. And also English is German. Close enough. German is an awful language to learn. I really enjoyed it. I found it a lot easier than French, but probably because my brother spoke it around the house. A rhyme might make more sense profile-wise. I'm assuming that was relating to sherried casks, Greg. And Peterhead, the lover of all things sherried. If I would have a Macallan, I would give it away as well. And before you ask, I do not have one. One day, well, I say actually one day, I know Peterhead brought a sherried whiskey. It was a refill, Highland Park at the Leaf Festival, and it was a stunner. But he's a changed man. Soon he'll be pumping Dalmore into his veins. And on that, let's end the poll. And it's a clear winner on this one. Waiting for the results to reappear. So in first, David Drinks Whiskey, the Benromach Signature with 48%, followed by the Compass Box, then the Space Odem, and I'm afraid to say, Phil, Aaron Port, people haven't doctored that bottle yet. So let's just make a note of the scores. I should have done more planning for this to work out who's going to win. While I'm trying to add up a small amount of numbers. What's it good? I'm being heckled on my home stream. This is my level. I like it. And what we'll do while I add up those scores, we'll fly into the next one. And David, you can start the ball rolling, and we are tackling Glenmorangie Signet, which I would say is probably the most enthusiast loved premium bottle, but I'll let you take it from there.
So last time I had this was at the Whiskey Show last year, and I was severely underwhelmed by it. And then I've not looked for a bottle of it, and then I looked at the price today, and I couldn't believe that that's what that goes for, and the fact that they have a more premium version of that as well, the Signet Reserve, for double the price again. I love Glenmorangie, or I call it Glenmorangie just because I'm lazy. But it just never connected with me. But I looked at the profile notes and how like it's toasted barley and stuff like that. And then I kind of went down a rabbit hole and I just thought, you know what? If you're going to be buying something that expensive for somebody, let's say specifically ask for it, I go, and I've already said this a wee bit, I go quite personal, and I try and find something that, if they're not really into whiskey, something that will look fancy, but something with a little bit of a story to it. And so I went and dug this out. And it doesn't really matter, but you'll understand. Again, it's another signatory, by the way. Signatory are the clear winners this evening, aren't they? But this is from their cash strength collection. This one actually happens to be a Macallan, 17. But it doesn't really matter. Look at it's a heavy, beautiful bottle, cash strength. This one happens to be 61% first fill, 17-year-old Macallan. But I looked, you have Dal Ewan, wonderful warm tub again, 17-year-old Master of Malt for like 80, I think it's £80. Same age, 17. But I just thought something like that for somebody, and maybe align it with an age statement or a date or something like that, and knowing the quality of the liquid inside it, because I pretty much trust a signatory to put something good out. It's few and far between at that, but that's what I would do. So I would go for the cash strength collection of any of these signatory releases. So I'm going really broad. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're hedging your bets. I like it, and I know, Phil, we're grateful to have you here and join us. Are you able to, before you have to dash, are you able to give us yours? Because this could snatch it in the three-way.
Yeah, there's kind of, for me, it's quite hard to think of an alternative because I don't really buy sort of fancy. I don't buy really many bottles kind of over $200. And the Signet is something that it comes in a big box and it makes a good gift. But the liquid, yeah, I've enjoyed it. And so the one I was sort of thinking, I think this one, like, it's probably not as kind of like the presentation and theatre of it, but it's got a good age statement. I really like it. And it's actually from the same owners as the earlier distillery. I'm going to go Fetacan 16.
That is a good shout. I am thoroughly on.
Probably buy two of them for a price of a Signet. But you're not going to get those sort of coffee chocolate notes. But I still think you're going to get it's a really nice bottle.
Yeah. So visually, you've gone for the visual looking bottle because the Fetacan bottle doesn't get the love it deserves for how it looks. It's a great looking, tall little thing. With the Scottish unicorn on the front as well. But yeah, no, we've talked about it before you arrived. The White Mackay tier list. They've done their own 6-tier whiskey video almost, with Dalmore at the very pricey top, all the way down to Jura, Shackleton, the blends at the bottom, the budget, the rungs on the ladder. So both, I would say, are good. Will they win? We'll find out, hopefully, before you have to leave. If you do need to leave, let us know, and we'll say good riddance. Say goodbye. Ash, are you ready?
Yeah. So I don't have a bottle here, guys, but letting the team down there. But just following on from Phil, when he did say it's exactly what I was thinking with the Signet, which is those coffee and chocolate notes. I actually was going to go for, but I didn't because it was a little bit pricey, the Fetacan Stout Cask, because it gave me those sorts of notes while still being a Scotch. But I think it was about £100. So I decided to go for the Teeling Stout Cask. A little bit left field, not really too similar, and a lot younger, more spirity, not quite as rich, but it does still give you those chocolate and coffee notes that I really like in the Signet. I found it such a hard one to replace, though. I do like the Signet.
Yeah, no, that's a great shout. I'm sorry, I did get distracted when you mentioned a Fetacan in a stout cask. I was straight away just Googling it.
It's a whiskey
and
shop exclusive.
Yeah, I'm currently looking at it and hovering.
Yeah, it's about £99.
Yeah, 99 quid. And I've got a £10 voucher to use up in the whiskey shop still. That sounds
It's
banging.
free then, Jeff. Whiskey math. Makes
Whiskey
sense.
math. I love that. Yeah. I've just returned loads of things off Amazon, and I thought, oh, that's a good excuse to actually get a bottle off of there. Oh, yeah. Whiskey math is a dangerous thing. But I'm sorry, Ash, can you confirm again? Because I confused it. What was your
I've
pick?
gone for the Teeling because it's a lot cheaper.
Teeling
Which is
yeah.
so Teeling Stout Cask.
Yeah, which is, I can present it. I just have it to hand. Because it was almost, could have been one of my picks. Okay.
It was the only thing I bottle off really that gave me those chocolate coffee notes that were really nice.
Yeah, no, it's a banging Irish whiskey. I think it's my favourite Teeling whiskey now. It's quite a soft spot from them. And I'm going to join you with the chocolate notes. And then...
You're going Jameson?
Not Jameson. I've gone for a very different whiskey. I've gone for an American single malt, and that is the Westland American Oak. David, I know you mentioned Westland earlier. For me, this has that kind of coffee, that kind of chocolate, that oaky spice. It's just a banger. It's really good. I can't even open it. I think it's this one part screw, part cork. It's been a while, but it's just, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's got the roasted coffee beans, and I'm not even a coffee drinker. So it just, yeah, tickles my pickles. So that's my pick, the American Oak Westland. So before Phil has to dash, let's find out who's the winner. I'll quickly get the poll live. What have I got? Westland. I know it's a Scotch crowd, so I'm definitely taking a loss on this one, and that's okay. Right, that poll is now live. Get it ready. Oh, I'm going to pour a glass of that now. I've sniffed that. It smells so good. What are people's thoughts on? Oh, it's beyond banging. It's a stout slapper. It is.
I can't get on with beer cask at all. I really struggle with it. It's one of the only Thompson brothers I've struggled with was a Ben Nevis, and I think a stout. Maybe it's stout. It was definitely beer cask, and it's too beery for me. It's too malty. It's too much like a mash. The only stout one that I enjoy, I've had that Teeling. I've enjoyed the Teeling, but it's the Jameson stout. And that and an Irish coffee works great.
Yeah,
I had did Pocono do a one called the Pocono Prohibition, which is a stout cask, which it's really good. It's a little bit different because I think the spirit's quite light, and then it's kind of a nice blend between the two. But
I
not that any of you
have tried.
Probably get it.
Sorry, I would have tried the Lagavulin, the stout cast they did. I never got the chance to try it, but I'd imagine the peat with the stout would go so well.
That was one of the first bottles I bought, but that was during lockdown that came out, and I managed to get a bottle, and it was great until it wasn't. It went really flat after being open for a while, like really surprising. And then there was a friend of mine was telling me about some IPA casks and stuff that used. I had a Chichibu, a tasting, and an IPA cask, and it smelled unbelievable and it tasted unbelievable. And after about 10 minutes of being opened, it was completely different, and I didn't enjoy it at all. And he was telling me there's a chemical, there's some sort of enzyme or something in the casks that, if not managed correctly, can affect the whiskey in a strange way. I really should have a better explanation than that. But it was, I found that Guinness one with the Lagavulin kind of did that, where it just became this kind of like, best description was like a flat beer. Like,
well, you've made me a little bit better about missing out.
There you go. So if you do come across a bottle, crack it open and finish it really responsibly but fast.
Yeah, like you, Ash, that was on my desperate to find list, and it was, and it pops up every now and then on Master Malt at like triple the price, and that's not the thing. It's not not my jam, and I think that's prime. Actually, I want to keep it. I'm going to end the poll I wanted to keep it open because it looked like I was having a resurgence at the back, but I think it's now disappeared for me. It's the little weight, the lull, it builds attention while YouTube counts it up. Okay, I can't see it. It's not displaying. Did anyone get a glimpse of who was winning? Because it's not displaying for me now.
It's joint between Phil and David for me, 32%.
Okay,
And then it's you,
perfect, yeah.
Jeff, again. So
So joint between Phil one. Oh, so I think we got a clear winner. So was I third? And was you
you're
last,
third,
Ash?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah,
the scores are in. We do have a bonus bottle. Do you have time, Phil, for the quick fire bonus round of Talisker 18? You don't have to bring the bottle up if you don't have it. This is the one that has been planned. But
Yeah.
could you
Probably
pick
go on
one to replace it?
Yeah, I'll go in a couple of minutes. Yeah, my pick for that, a smoky whiskey that's good and you're paying a little bit more. I would go for something like not this, but the Port Charlotte, like PAC, or one of the special release Port Charlottes. Yeah, I think they're banging, slapping.
That's a very strong. I turn to Sean Connery then. A very strong shout there. David, what would be your quick fire Talisker 18 from the hip?
Was not prepared for this at all. So I am going to go for a bottle that quick fire. I would go Ardnamurchan. Ardnamurchan cast strength for that maritime-y, sailing-y, salty, windswept approach that Talisker can deliver at times. And I think the cast strength for 60 pound delivers that in spades.
That's a strong lineup so far. What Port Charlotte, sorry, was you, Phil? Do you have?
I'll go the PAC.
Yeah, the whiny one, yeah?
Yeah.
Ash, if you could quick fire a Talisker 18 replacement, ideally under 200 quid. Is he there? There's these sound effects. I think you froze in, Ash, and I think the excitement was getting to you. You're like that radio DJ, whose sole job is to keep the sound good. I think someone's having too much fun. I'll jump in and say mine would be Lecheg. Oh, Ash has just put in the chat. Lecheg 18 for you. Yep, that's literally what I was just about to say was Lecheg 18. So we'll go for a tie on that one because that would be my pick as well. Then again, let's make it more exciting. You beat me to it.
He's changed it. He's changed it to the 99.
Oh, 99 is it? Yeah, that's good. That means I don't have to. I'll stick with Lecheg 18. So this will be the decider going by the scores. Soundboard man, do you have like a countdown clock ready?
But if I ever see you nosing it like this, I'll kill you.
And that's some pure Richard Patterson gold there. Right, the poll is live. Those videos, I've watched them too many times. Right, the poll is live. Oh, a clear, or unless that's just Phil voting with multiple accounts because there's a clear. And we've got, unfortunately, we've lost Ash. Technical issues, and he thinks he's done for the night. No worries. Thank you for joining us, Ash. You'll see if you're the winner soon. Looking at the poll, I don't think you will be, I'm afraid to say, buddy, but grateful to have you along for the ride. How soon do you need to go, Phil? Just so I know how quickly I need to end this poll.
I need to go now. Sorry.
Poll is ended. No, that's good. So that means the Ardnamurchan cast strength for the win.
We're joint, Jeff.
Oh, I'll take that. You can hear the surprise in my voice then. I don't think it's going to change the votes too much. Ash is 1 and Phil is 2. So that's 10. So in first is David with 14, followed by me with 11, then Phil with, tied with Phil with 11, and then Ash on 8, I think. Someone can check the maths. I'm sure. Phil, grateful to have you joining us this evening, buddy. If people want to stick around, we do have a very short quiz to end on. David, if you're happy to stay around a bit longer, thank you for taking your morning with us, Phil. Hopefully you can get on and enjoy some work, I imagine, this afternoon.
Yeah, pay the bills. Good to see you. Good to see your faces. Good chats.
And you, buddy. You take it easy.
Have fun.
Cheers. Bye.
See you.
All right, that's down to the hardcore 2. Are you ready for a very short and easy quiz?
We'll see. We'll see.
Let's have a look. So we'll just quickly go through the chat. So Ian saying, cheers, Phil. Yeah, it was really glad he could pop in. He said it was his goal too. And then we know what it's all like on the school run and things pulling us away. I never thought to hear him like that. Was that Richard Patterson, maybe? Greg saying, to be honest, I'm really afraid of how that 2026 Blonde Talisker tastes. You bought from 20 years ago is ace, but less than a few years before. Yeah, I do wonder if the quality's still there. I tried it maybe 7-ish years ago. And since that spot, it was on my to buy list, and then I never purchased it.
They're doing, I don't know if you've seen, they're now doing single casks, official single casks.
Talisker?
Yep, Donnock Castle Whisky Club, the Thompson brothers, the Whisky Club at the castle, have a single cask. And Justerini and Brooks, J&B Whisky, so the shop itself in London, they have a single cask of it as well. I'm not sure how much it costs, but you can find it online. It's a very similar label to the 18. And it's the first time I've seen that, where Talisker is available as an OB single cask.
Yeah, that almost seems to go against their mission objective almost. That seems quite an enthusiast, unless they are widening their range, casting a wider net, possibly.
They'll have plenty of stock. So it's a clever idea, because again, it's one of those whiskies, isn't it, that when it's good, it's really good. But you're buying it from elsewhere the majority of the time, so why not? If the 18's not flying off the shelf, incentivize people to...
Yeah. Right, let's quickly get this quiz up. Right, it's a very easy quiz. So no pressure to you, David, because you're the last one left. We will all be judging your answers on this. I think it's an easy one. I did put it together 5 minutes before we went live. So it's you versus the chat.
Right.
So the first question, how many antler points are on the Dalmore stag emblem? So you've got A, 10 points, B, 12 points, C, 6 points, or D, 8 points.
I'm going to go for D, 8 points.
Going for 8 points. It mathematically works. I'm looking at it in front of me. So you're locked in. Let's see if anyone in the chat's going to have a guess. The pass mark for this is 2.5, because I think there's 5 questions. I'm not entirely sure. We've got people coming in. So yeah, they're saying Bowman's saying you're the pass mark, so they've got to beat you. So the pressure
shouldn't be too hard.
Currently, the chat is going against you with Big Jimmy Jazz and Ian Williams.
This is people revealing how many bottles of Dalmore they have on their shelves.
Yeah. They're just counting how many bottles, not the stag's antlers. And yeah, the crowd are correct, and that is it's a 12-point stag, which looks, the more you look at it, the more ridiculous it looks. Let's make that larger. Look at that. Yeah, the thin, tiny plastic, which falls off. I had a 12-year-old and I was gutted when it fell off the bottle. Right, so are we ready now? So you're 0 for 5. What angle is the Johnny Walker label slant? I feel like this is a lot of pressure on you. This feels almost unfair that
It's fine. It's fine. I can get this.
So 90 degrees, B 24 degrees, C 40 degrees, and D 12 degrees.
Hang on. Let me get a protractor.
I was going to say, do you have a protractor to hand?
I'm going to go for. Oh God. Well, that would be that. That would be that. C 40 degrees.
Going for 40 degrees. So are you locking that in? Yeah.
I'm locking it in.
Okay, so 40 degrees is quite steep. Not that I've got a protractor to hand either, but
it's
the answer.
Yeah.
We've got Big Jimmy Jazz with D 12 degrees. I can't remember. So was it Nakamp Lax? The Combat Salmon with C.
Combat Salmon.
Yeah. Ian with C. Greg question asked in the V pub, but I did forget the answer. Yeah, it's a common like whiskey marketing question. C, but it's a 39 degrees. So the answer is 24 degrees. Going by, so it's not actually that steep. Let's find a bottle. I'm sure I've got, there you go, I've got an old Johnny Walker there. Very old Johnny Walker. Okay. With the reason being it takes up the right amount of shelf like label space. But yeah, I can't imagine this is any good.
I'm going to ask a question here.
Yep.
If a right angle is 90.
Yep.
And then half of a right angle is 45.
Yep.
And then half of that 22-bit. So that surely that would be 24. Like really steep.
Quite. Well, I'm going to check this now. Let's quickly. I'm guessing they're doing it from the tilt point in the bottom corner. Let's find out. If I could be wrong on this. What angle is the Johnny Walker label? So the Whiskey Wash is saying it's 24 degrees, but I want to get some more. Wikipedia is also saying angle of 24 degrees upwards. I'm trying to find an image that I could drop in and show.
Is it taking 24 from the 90 and then going up to 24? That would make sense. So yeah, from the base of the bottle, then tilting it up.
Going up, yeah. So I did have a ruler to hand as well. I've been using it all day at work. I've not. There we go. Let's get some maths. I don't have a protractor.
No. Who needs countdown for your math problem
I was
solved?
going to say this is not what I expected tonight to go into. But
it must be. Yeah. So it's coming from. It has to be coming up the way, eh? Like
yeah. So that there is. Well, I know what I'm doing tonight with my homework. I'm getting my protractor out, and Oh, we've got Ash. Are you joining us again? Have you reappeared? He's in the clouds currently.
Get him in because I'm 0 for 2. This is
all right. So we've got. Have you been keeping track of the quiz?
Not at all. My laptop froze, so I had to delete some things. I think I ran out of storage.
That's no worries at all. Did you want to quickly fire through the two questions? Quickly. You do have an advantage for the answer.
I can always move on.
Yes, a good idea of the answer on the screen. I don't think, did many people get that one right? I don't think they did. We'll move on. So question 3 is how many different cask finishes are used for the Dalmore King Alexander III? So we talked about this whiskey a couple times tonight.
What good
So
timing.
Yeah, this is so Ash does have a prop which may help him here.
Wouldn't it be funny if the prop's wrong?
Well, we did have to check if my research was wrong because we weren't sure on the angle of the Johnny Walker. It's only because 24 is my favorite number, is the reason I remembered it. But I should, in future, I will cross-reference every question I put together. So A3, B12, C6, and D8. See, this is what you don't get on the VPub. You don't get a quiz master who doesn't know the answer.
Well, it's good. Surely it's everything. Like, how many different cask finishes do they have? Because it feels like they just fling everything into it to make it expensive. But
So by that logic, are you going for the biggest number?
I'm trying to think what would
Hi there.
do. What getting in that mindset.
Chano, just throw your glass on the carpet.
just-
And if it helps, Ian with a very helpful comment of no idea whatsoever, if that does
Perfect.
help. Oh, but he has put down D. Big Jimmy Jazz has gone for C. And Bowman's
I was going to
gone
go.
for C as well.
I was going to go for C6.
So,
Yeah. Follow Crowd Smart. Ash, what are you going to go for?
to be honest, I thought there was more, but I'm suddenly thinking C as well.
You're staying it safe.
Yeah.
Do you have your little barrel thing? How many sides does it
I
have
do.
on that?
It says 6.
Okay, so with the unfair advantage.
I know.
Oh, there's no,
That's why I went
it
last.
doesn't show the right answer on this one. The answer is C6, and I can tell you what it is. It was, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Dalmore King. It was a port, it was a bourbon, it was a sherry. There you go. Ash has got this, make it larger. So he's got this little prop, this little down thing. There you go. So you got
we got a Matasal and
Methuselah,
Oloroso.
Oloroso, Marcella, Madeira, Port. Is it Cavillon Sauvignon? And the last one, American White Oak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was that 1 for 3 for you, David?
It is indeed.
It's
We're not going to count.
only
that
out of
for me,
5,
I
so
don't
it's not
think.
too bad. All right, and the final question. No, not the final question. Question number 4. Which distillery has the tallest stills? So this is the distillery out of these 4. So you have A, Glenmorangie, B, Dalmore, C, Glenlivet, D, Macallan. I saw that fist bump you did internally then, David.
I feel like I know this one before it even you put the 4 up, but then I was like, is this going to be a trick question of like geographical height, where the stills are located or something like that? But there's no asshat, so
No.
I'm
Would I
going to
do
go.
that?
I'm going to go for the giraffe itself. A.
Yep. Ash, what are you thinking?
I was thinking A or C, just with the flavour. So I'll go different. I'll go C. Make it interesting.
So you're going for Glenlivet. I can say Glenlivet does have very high steels. But we've got most people in the chat. It is, yeah, the giraffe. It's what it's marketed as, this Glenmorangie.
Mhm.
So most people with A getting it right. So that is, I put it right at least on that one. And then the final question. Which distillery is not a White & Mackay brand? But I'm going to caveat that because I've just remembered what I've done. So which brand is not a White & Mackay brand? So ignore the word distillery there. So which brand is not a White & Mackay brand? Otherwise, that'll be a trick question. So you have A, the Whiskey Works, which is not a distillery, it's a brand. B, Invergordon. C, Fetacan. And D, Tom and Tao. So which brand is not a White & Mackay brand? This is really scraping the barrel putting this together, isn't it?
I'm going to go for D for David.
I'm terrible at these. I'm so bad.
Going for the chat. Ash, you got a couple minutes to ponder it. You can. We've got Greg giving us the full list. So bourbon, Jerez, Oloroso, Methuselah, I can't yet. Madeira, Masala, Porto, and Cabernet Sauvignon. That's the most impressive. I think I could have said that sentence because normally those words would not fly out of my mouth. We've got 2 out of 4 with Ian. Big Jimmy Jazz, 3 out of 4. Greg with a 2 out of 4. And I'm just looking at the answers now. I'm not going to pop them in. No pressure, Ash. You got this.
It's a complete stab in the dark.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with A.
So if I didn't change the wording and kept it this, you would be correct, because the Whiskey Works is not a distillery, it's a brand, but it is owned by White & Mackay. So yeah, it's Tom and Tao, which is brother of Glencadam, or sister of Glencadam.
Was it not at one before it was owned by who owns it now? Was it not owned by White & Mackay?
Was it White & Mackay? Let's find out. This is where
I thought that's maybe the angle you were going for, where you were trying to.
I'm really grateful that you feel like I put more thought into this. Let's find out. That'd be a good history. Yes, it's Angus Dundee at the moment, so who also operate Glencadam. That would be a good little fact. Yeah, it was sold on. So White & Mackay brought it in 1989, and then it was sold in 2000 to Angus Dundee. See, it's almost like I planned it. It was just literally a case of I looked through the bottles I had behind me.
You're downplaying your level of ducking and weaving in that there.
There is no ducking and weaving here. This is Goose Central. Let's go larger. Right. Thank you both for joining tonight. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, even if it was a dodgy quiz at the end. So what did you end on, Dave? Was that 2 out of 5?
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Not to downplay, that's beyond halfway. Ash, how many was that out of 2? Was it 1 out of 2?
I got 0 out of 2. Yeah, the last 2, because we're not going to include the Dalmore.
Yeah.
0.
So that's not bad yet. So we got 3 out of 5. I think we won the highest. 2 for 5. I know we got a 4 out of 5. Big Jimmy Jazz coming in, a big Dalmore fan. Ian with 3 out of 5. I don't want to brag, but I think
anyone got 5.
What question would have put people off? Possibly the last one.
Staghead.
Or Staghead. See, I think that's, I don't know.
And the angle. Number. The angle.
But the highly debated angle, yeah.
I've actually got a bottle beside me of Johnny Walker, and I'm now looking at the label, and I'm like, because this is why I failed math.
I was going to say, you can take right there. Shall I quickly test it? You can normally on your phone, you can get the protractor app. Let's see. No, it won't load. Trying to read the barcode on it. We'll let us know in the comments what you think the angle is. Big Jim Jazz, the angle stitched him up. He went too low. But on that note, a huge thank you, David, Ash, and Phil. Thank you for joining us today. I've really enjoyed this very last minute stream. Let's make it a bit bigger. So I'm really grateful for your time. I feel like we provided a good list of premium whiskey alternatives, and we done a good debate, I think. I don't think we're going to change Dalmore's mind on the tours. They're not going to announce suddenly £25 a ticket. And that's okay. There's enough good whiskey for us.
And if they want to invite us for a behind-the-scenes look, I'm sure the favours are all readily available.
More importantly, yes, if the helicopter can get here by 10 a.m. tomorrow, we'll all be there. And that's a good note to end on, I think. So thank you all for your time. Thank you to everyone who's watching and all the slappers who support me and help put this together and afford the StreamYard membership for a year. For the month, for the year. Christ, that would have been an investment. I think that's grateful for everyone. I'll catch you in the next one. I've got to hold this in this hand so I can click the end now button in the other one.